Yeah, how's it doing? How's it going, everybody? Yeah, I'm the 13th Wolfman, of course. And the people over at the Geek Legion of Doom, yeah, I love the name. They're holding the ultimate giveaway. So you might wonder, well, what can that mean? That means that they are giving away if you win the contest, you can, or giveaway, or whatever you want to call it, you could choose 5 items from this long laundry list of stuff. They've got Funko Pops for just about everything from comic books to video games. You know, the Funko Pops represent. They got Blu-ray and DVDs. They got Steelbooks. A lot of the Blu-rays, though, not all of them, but a majority of them are Blu-ray, are Region 2 or Region B. You know, if it's a DVD, it's Region 2. If it's a Blu-ray, it's Region B, locked. Not all of them. There's some stuff there that I really think is kind of cool that I would like to get my hands on. They also have like a kind of like a grab bag category, which is just a little bit of everything. They have like the Fright Night soundtrack on a picture disc vinyl, or the Fright Night. They got a couple of Fright Night soundtracks. One's a picture disc. One's like a splattered effect for like the vinyl. Looks really cool. Stuff like that. So they're giving away, you know, like I said, if you win, you can get 5 things. You know, you can choose 5 things that you want. And it looks really cool. And so there's a couple ways you can enter this contest. Way number 1 is you can share this. You can go to their video and share the video with Facebook or Twitter, and then you take a screenshot of you sharing it and you email it to their email. That's kind of cool. That's one way. Number 2 is they have 2 questions that you can answer. I believe that they want you to answer them in the comment section on the video. So question number 1 is what 5 things you know, that you see in the video would you like to have and why? And number 2 is if you could bring back an actor or actress that has passed and put them as a superhero, supervillain, or in a horror film, who would the actor be? What would the character be, and why? I like that idea. I really think that's a cool question. And then there's the third way of entering, and I'm doing that right now. And that is this. You can make a video. You can make a video talking about how, not how, but what makes you a geek. Because their name is the Geek Legion of Doom. What makes you a geek? What are you geeky about? And you make a video and you talk about it. And they're kind of like, I mean, if they like your video, there's a subcategory kind of like if they like your video, they could give you whoever wins the liked video contest could get like 25 entries into this contest. So it's like just about impossible for you to lose. But you know, you want to be creative. You want to show, you know, I mean, it doesn't all have to be creative. Maybe you just have to tell a good yarn, tell a good story. So I'm going to tell you why I'm geeky. And let's just go along with this. As far back as I could remember, I've always been into a little bit of everything. When I was a kid, I was into comic books. I was the DC Rat. My brother, the Red-Headed Monster, was the Marvel Rat. And our parents would take us out camping just about almost every weekend. We would get into our old truck and the camper and, you know, go out camping. And, you know, the time it takes to leave our house to go wherever we were going, you know, whether it was here or there or wherever, it took us forever to get there. So my brother and I, we would gather up all our comic books. We both had separate bedrooms growing up. And so if I was into DC, you know, I'm into DC and I'm reading, you know, Batman and Brave and the Bold and Justice League, and he's reading X-Men and Captain America and Daredevil and all that. And, you know, when we get together, we didn't go to the other person's room to see what they were reading. I mean, if the comic was sitting out, yeah, sure, I might grab it, or he might grab one of mine. But more than likely, it was in our rooms, and, we just didn't, trespass. But when we got together on the weekends, we'd gather up all our comic books, put them in the camper, we'd be in the camper, we'd be at that table, and we'd just be reading, like, not all weekend, but just as long as we could to, to pass the time while getting there. So I could catch up on Captain America, he could catch up on Batman, whatever. I mean, so that was my comic side. I also love music. I love a lot of music, everything. Everything from the swing bands from the 1940s to Sinatra to 1950s rock, 1960s rock, 70s classic rock, 1980s heavy metal. I don't refer to it as hair metal because that's just a stupid name. Grunge, a lot of the rock stuff. I hate disco, but a lot of the rock stuff. I like all music. A lot of music. Big Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr. fan. It's like I listen to that a lot, like on Tuesdays and whatnot, and just because. But yeah, so, and then you get into movies. And movies was something that I share with my mom. I remember going back, I've told this story many times, but I remember as a young person watching the late night, the late night show, not the late night show, but it was called Nightmare Theater, I believe it was. And Joe Towie, who played the Count, was one of the coolest, things ever. He'd come on, he'd ham it up. He was the Svengoolie of my time. He was, this was before Elvira, and he would really ham it up. I wish I could find footage and show it to you, but it's really hard to find. Just if you can, Google Joe Towie or the Count. Pacific Northwest, Nightmare Theater or something like that. And you'll see this really, I've only seen like one clip of him, and it's sad because he hosted like that show forever, it seems like. But I used to watch all this stuff with my mom, late night horror with my mom, and the rule is, I was 5 years old, and the rule was that if you could sit through it and not be scared, you can watch it. But the minute you're scared, you're going to bed. Okay, well, sure, no problem. So she started me out on Universal Monsters like Frankenstein, the Wolfman, Dracula. And then next thing you know, I'm into the Atomic Age sci-fi horror stuff like Them, Tarantula, The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, And I'm learning all about this stuff. I didn't have the internet back then, so, you had to read about it or just... You'd hear like little things here and there, and you'd remember them. And Clint Eastwood was in Tarantula, as one of the pilots towards the end, and all that stuff. And I loved all that geeky knowledge, and it all just sits up here and it resides up here. And it's crazy about how much stuff that I've gathered over the years, just here. All that just makes me like, a geek, a dork, whatever you want to call it, and. Then I got into YouTube some years back, and I met these two guys. These two guys that were two of the coolest guys ever. You might know them from their show, The Dorkening, Leo Pond and Kevin Crook. And, it's like we got together and we were talking, and, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm into heavy metal and horror, and they're kind of like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'm really, Kevin's like, I'm really into horror too. Next thing you know, we're collaborating. I do my sit down. I actually am now interviewing people from the horror community, whether it's a classic artist like, an actress like Barbara Crampton, or somebody new and upcoming like Jessica Sonneborn or Jessica Simpson. Not Jessica Simpson, Jessica Cameron. It's something that just completely blows my mind that I now get to sit down and talk with people in the horror business. I never thought that this would be this would be something I'd be able to do when I was younger, and now I'm doing it. So yeah, so I'm just a giant dork. I'm a, you know, comic books, music, movies, and knowledge galore. So that's what makes me a geek. Check out the Geek Legion of Doom. Go over there, subscribe, check out their contests, check out all their videos. This guy knows what he's you know, they know what they're talking about. It's just kind of a fun channel. With that, all I can say, man, is that I'm the 13th Wolfman, like always. I'm on the prowl.